This is David Seroy. I'm here with Adam Back. I'm assuming pretty much anybody watching this knows who you are. When Blockstream came up with Sidechains back in 2014 or whatever, it was this grand vision that all of these features could be replicated on Bitcoin. Do you still think that the sidechain vision is intact?
It's hard to get new opcodes, to get consensus to add new opcodes to Bitcoin. And it's also relatively hard for Bitcoin to accept changes with trade-offs. People in Bitcoin tend to use Bitcoin as the benchmark for security. And so they're a little bit cautious about security trade-offs.
Are you optimistic that the Bitcoin community will be able to come together and find technical consensus on one of these solutions? Or do you think that it's kind of become, it's the classic immune system response and any change is bad?
It remains to be seen. I mean, I think that for sidechain supporting opcodes, it's probably premature to get to that. I mean, certainly the BIP 300 is a concrete implementation that people can look at. But I think it may be a good time to be looking at opcodes. I mean, I think people shouldn't get too impatient. They should expect this to take years because it's, a novel thing. But now is potentially a good time because the Schnorr and Taproot opcode has activated, and there's discussion of covenants. So there is discussion about, what could or should be a next opcode. So, now is potentially a good time to re-examine the sidechain mechanisms.
One thing I wanted to ask you about was DeFi, and this is a very loaded term, right? A lot of people think that there has no application whatsoever. Some people think that, it's kind of, the next great new feature. And so some of the things that we're seeing are the ability to say, borrow against your Bitcoin without a centralized intermediary at potentially even 0% interest. And that's gaining a lot of kind of interest and traction amongst the community. Do you have a perspective on DeFi in general? And is there any subset of it that you find is useful or interesting?
Yeah, I mean, I think like many things, there is something useful and some intrinsic value, but some altcoins basically hyper-incentivized it and gave it a bad name by failing in spectacular ways. I think the inherent idea that you can sort of construct smart contracts, do collateralized borrowing, or provide liquidity to sort of automated market makers, things like that are interesting and valuable and could, demonstrate some value compared to the existing financial systems infrastructure by being more decentralized and removing some friction or fees from intermediaries, because users can construct or participate in complex financial instruments with multiple things coming together. So some liquidity, some buyers, some sellers, some borrowers, some lenders, and things like that. And that extends beyond loans to, call options between Bitcoin and US dollars and things like that.
Could you see a world where Bitcoin and the dollar are almost symbiotic, where you have maybe something where you're collateralizing your Bitcoin, you're minting these stable coins, and then you can bridge those stable coins onto Lightning, and then you have this beautiful world where you use Taro to issue the stable coins and be sending them back and forth? Or are you only of the mindset that it's Bitcoin will eventually be the one money and nothing else will exist aside from that?
Well, I mean, there's clearly demand for other forms of payment. So stablecoins is one, because you need currency to trade against, basically. The Bitcoin standard is a long way away, I expect, right? So we should expect fiat currencies to remain. And then for, crossover things like stablecoin lightning channels, yeah, I think that's plausible. I think lightning channels tend to work better for high liquidity assets, like assets that are transacted a lot. So there are a lot of holders because you want, routability and a big enough network to route. But, I think Tether would be the highest contender behind Bitcoin. Actually, I mean, the transactional volume on Tether is the next runner-up to Bitcoin itself, primarily for trading, but also for cheaper, faster wire transfers, effectively.
Well, thank you. That sounds amazing. And I just want to say thank you for all the work that you've done for Bitcoin and all the people that you've kind of inspired through a lot of your work.
Well, thank you. And thanks for having me on.